Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the anniversary episode of Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter, coming in to tell you that this isn't really an anniversary episode, it just happened to come out on the same day. Technically it was planned, but only after we recorded it, so it's nothing really special. If you want a better anniversary episode of something, you can go down into the description below and click on Caffeinated Pinky's real-time fan dub of the Crystal Empire, which by sheer coincidence came out the very day, a year before this podcast first premiered. I just wanted to promote that because I'm in it. Okay, enjoy the show. Hello there, everybody. I'm Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. You know me.
Is that your day job?
Yes. No, I'm kidding. It's not a job. It's just something I do for fun. Anyways, that over there is Wizzy Puff.
Hi, guys. Apparently I'm Wizzy Puff.
Welcome to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host. So here's the thing about this. I am sick of Wizzy's shit. So I'm taking him through a magical journey through My Little Pony fanfiction. Welcome to the 51st episode, which is right after the 50th episode.
That was a long episode.
Yeah, it was a long episode. So anyways, today, on this monumentous occasion of 51 episodes, we are reading Read It Later by All Art is Quite Useless.
I do not agree with the name. The author's name, that is.
Perhaps he's got a point. Or she, possibly, but... anyways. I'm glad you asked, Wizzy. We should read this now instead of reading it later.
Or maybe we should Chapter 1. Read this now. And as she looked out over the remnants of the jungle, flattened and bereft of life, she...
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, go into the description and check this story out before you listen to our crazy ramblings. If you want, you don't have to, but if you stick around, you're gonna have to go down and give it a thumbs up.
That is sound advice.
Which would require you to make an account. So instead, you should probably just go and read it.
You know, maybe they could just give this episode a thumbs up instead. You know, second best thing.
You know what? You could also do that. Speaking of that, though, you could just read it along with us. But I haven't tried that. It's never been tested before.
Man.
So.
She didn't spare a thought for any of the creatures that had met their end there, nor for her own companions, who had almost perished in the face of danger. She thought only of the blood ruby pendant hanging from her neck, her determination as unwavering then as it had been when she first set out on her quest. Ooh, is this going to be
Wait a minute, is this a sequel to Crystal Dreams?
I don't know what that is.
I do. So you see, back in the early days of the fandom, I read this story called Crystal Dreams, which I don't know if I should get too deep into it. I liked it, but I don't know if it was a particularly actually great story. But it used to be one of my favorites, but I remember a lot of like spelling errors and stuff like that in it.
I don't know.
It was about Rainbow Dash, and she had this like crystal on her neck. Can't remember the color, but I think it was red.
Oh, like a blood ruby pendant.
Yeah, and then I think she like gets sick when she meets Soren, and then there's a whole romance mystery that goes on there.
Oh.
Soren is a Wonderbolt. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that is not a good ship.
I think it's okay.
Soren Dash isn't valid.
Shut the fuck up, Wizzy. Every ship is valid. Except for pedo ships. Those don't count.
Yeah.
In the eyes of the Lord.
But what about friggin' Incestia, or whatever you call the ship between Celestia and Luna?
It's Lunestia, you dickhead.
No, I definitely call that Incestia.
That's just the type that it is, Incestia. The real ship name is Lunestia. Now, look. It's actually also called Princessed if we involve other princesses as well.
I don't know.
Although I think that can be used for just Celestia and Luna, but Princessed is the whole of it. Anyways, that one, you got a good point.
Lunestia is so much less creative and so much less on
But
the
it does. Incestia doesn't involve Luna though.
Oh, it very much does.
Which is,
let me tell you,
required for a ship name.
No, that's not true. Look at Ruby ships. You did.
Okay, those
don't
count because those involve neither of the names.
I love Ruby ships because,
and when they do involve both of them.
They have the most creative names for their ships.
I agree, though. Those are the best ship names.
Okay.
But outside of that, that doesn't matter. Let's continue.
It had taken a great deal of sacrifice, but the power to change things was now within her grasp, waiting to be utilized. With it, she could reverse this cataclysmic destruction. She could undo the damage. And above all, she could save the world. Rainbow shuddered out a breath as she read over her writing one last time, scarcely believing it was really hers.
Okay, so a lot of people won't understand what just happened. After she could save the world, it switched into it used to be italics, but after save the world, it switched into normal text.
Yeah.
Wizzy just didn't exemplify that with his voice.
I didn't notice until you said it, so.
But that was a what seems to be a story in it. In the story.
Oh, that was what she was writing. Oh, I thought that might have been like a 10 days before kind of thing.
On a comedy fic with only 4,000 words. Come on, man.
They do it in like sitcom episodes. They could do it in fan fictions like this. Wait, how many words is this?
4,000 something.
Okay.
4,100 actually. Short.
Rainbow shuddered out of breath as she read over her writing. Wait, never mind. I was already read that part. Over time, she had learned to be critical, and she knew that what the prose was rough in place. And she knew that the prose was rough in places, but the plot was so freaking awesome. How the heck could she have come up with it? Was truly beyond her. Oh God, I can't read things right now. How the heck she had come up with it was truly beyond her. But to say that Rainbow was proud of herself would be an understatement. It had taken months.
I don't mean to pause after everything, and I'm a writer, so I should know this, but what the fuck is a prose?
It's like I've seen the word, but I always forget what it means.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna look it up. Written or spoken language in its ordinary form without metrical structure. Oh, that's it? Oh, that's lame. I expected it to be something else. Something bigger than all of us.
It had taken months to write, and more months to refine and craft it into something resembling good literature. And still she knew that even when she sent it to a publisher, she could be painfully rejected, or asked to completely reword certain sections, change big areas of the story around, or even scrap a section. Rainbow learned that about the world of publication a while ago. When did she become so into publication? Into literature?
When she first read Daring Do. But she hasn't shown much of an interest in writing herself. However, I believe there was one joke about her trying to write something in season 3, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, that's what fan fiction is for. Really going
Hell
into
yeah,
those
baby.
ideas. And it had come to terms with the fact that her debut and hopefully flagship story would likely have to be molded into what the publisher wanted first. Otherwise, she'd never get it out there. When Twilight had published the Friendship Journal, it managed to get out unedited for 2 reasons. The first being that it was epistolary nonfiction.
I'll look it up.
I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Epistolary.
Epistolary. That was it.
A form of literary work in the form of letters.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I almost misread nonfiction as fan fiction. We've been doing this too much, Ross.
Yeah, we got a Ross and Wizzy's nonfiction power.
True crime podcast, baby.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. If we ever were to do a nonfiction power hour, it would be a good idea for a true crime podcast. All right, let's continue. Sorry, we keep getting off track.
And the second, that no pony's going to say no to a princess. There should have been a comma there. Rainbow didn't have that luxury, and also realized that to a lot of traditional publishers, a no once meant a no forever. In other words, she had to get this right the first time, and that meant getting the story to its absolute best before sending it off. As far as Rainbow was concerned, the writing was already pretty dang good, but she was an amateur author, and this was the first thing she had written for the explicit purpose of others seeing. Luckily, she had friends that knew a lot about either writing or text analysis, and figured she could rely on them for some assistance in putting together her final draft. Her eyes finished tracing the page as she looked to her window, her hoof subconsciously flicking through the 260 stapled pieces of paper as she tried to determine how late in the day it was. What are you doing over there?
I forgot to close the window. And now it's closed. Bet you're happy.
There was no clock in the study, after all. The ticking distracted her way too much. Deciding she had ample time, she gently placed the papers in her saddlebag, which she then fastened around her flanks, closing them tight to ensure that none of her writing would billow out during her flight. As she took off through a nearby window, Hey, Ross, you closed it right before Rainbow got out.
Oops. Thunk. Editor's note, put a thunk sound effect in there, I don't care.
As she took off through a nearby window, she couldn't help but be excited to hear Twilight's reaction. Surely the most studious pony she knew would have some valuable comments and criticism for her, as long as Rainbow could convince her not to just say whatever she wanted to hear. She was serious about this, after all. She knew Twilight would have some strong and justifiable opinions, and that's precisely why she was going to her. She could take it. When she arrived at the castle, Spike told her that Twilight was upstairs in the northeast library room. Rainbow stifled a chuckle at hearing it be referred to as the northeast library room, wondering just how many libraries there were in the castle as she trotted up the stairs and made her way there. If there was one thing a Pegasus was inherently good for, it was having a natural sense of direction. Stop making generalizations, Rainbow Dash. Come on.
It's true, though. They are surprisingly good at directions.
Ross, not you too. These ponies,
I'm just saying, I wouldn't trust Rarity to find my way out of a paper bag. So.
What the heck? Is she, actually bad at direction, or is that just something you made up on the spot?
Just something I made up on the spot. It's called improv, baby.
It's called spreading rumors, and they hurt people like Rarity, Ross.
Hey, guess what? What? I don't forgive Rarity after what she did to Spike, so I don't care.
No, after she denied his advances?
No.
Well, I guess that's something that a viewer would know, not me.
Anyways.
So even in the large castle with the winding hallways, Rainbow found the room she was looking for pretty quickly. Why was I forgetting that she was a Pegasus? Knocking, Twilight bade her entry, and is bade the right word, or, oh no, yeah, that meant. What does bade mean?
Yeah, that should be it.
Words.
Utter a greeting or farewell to.
Man, I need to start learning more words so I recognize them while we're recording.
It's like a version of bid. but bait is correct.
Oh. I thought the past tense of that would be boat or something. I don't know. Whatever. And she entered to find Twilight sat at a desk with a ballpoint pen in her aura, scribbling a few notes on a messy sheet of paper, beside which laid an open book.
Hello, Twilight Sparkle. What are you doing?
Are you gonna actually keep doing that, or are you gonna,
Indubitably.
Okay. I gotta point out, this is not the right words that he's using. He is totally just doing his own thing.
New 50 episodes, new us, Wizzy.
Okay, I guess, I gotta really put some more flair into what I'm saying then.
I mean, except for the narration.
Rainbow asked in her normal tone. Her version of library etiquette was not shouting after all. Luckily, Twilight seemed to be used to this, as she spun round without a murderous expression on her face. Not much, Rainbow. Just going through a book on neurotology, looking at linguistic techniques and things like that. What's up, anyway?
I'm learning so many new words today. Hold on.
Rainbow tapped her chin.
Narratology? That's novel studies, correct?
Pretty much. Twilight nodded, spinning back to Dogier, the page she was on, and Dog-ear? I don't know.
Doger.
Oh my god. The thesaurus is coming through in this one.
Yep. Oh no, I looked it up. It's not giving me a way to say it.
Wait, I thought you just said it. They just pronounced it.
No, I was lying. Oh wait, there's a read function. Dogier.
Spinning back to Dogier, the page she was on, and then closing the book. Why the sudden interest?
Well,
Rainbow grinned, setting down her saddlebags and proceeding to open them.
That's actually why I am here.
She proceeded to pull out the slab of paper, holding it in her hooves as she flapped over to Twilight's desk and then placed it on top.
You remember when I said that I wanted to write my own story, correct?
Vaguely, I think. Twilight's eyes landed on the large manuscript on her deck. You mean to say you actually wrote this entire thing?
Good heavens! You don't have to sound so shocked.
You gotta censor out the G's, don't you?
I just thought it would make more sense.
Rainbow chuckled.
Chuckle? But, yes, I did. It took me a lot of time, and I've been keeping it under wraps for a while, just in case I didn't finish it. But it's finally done, or at least the third draft is.
Rainbow! Twilight smiled, her tail beginning to wave back and forth. That's brilliant. What's it about?
Well, so it's called Undone, and it's based right here in Equestria. In the book, our hero, Sharp Shine, is an everyday Pegasus, just doing her job and living her life until she's approached by a pony that claims to have known her long-dead father, a stallion she had never met. The pony introduces her to an ancient sect that her father was once part of, a special force under the guidance of the Sisters, designed to root out and document, bring under control, or destroy magical and supernatural creatures and anomalies that the elements cannot be used on.
Oh, I really hope that this is actually based off of one of the author's other fan fictions. And they're just, like, working it into another fan fiction claiming that Rainbow Dash wrote it. That would be awesome.
That'd be funny.
Twilight's ears twitched. Sounds interesting so far. Go on. That elicited a smile, and Rainbow's words seemed to carry more enthusiasm as she continued.
The thing is, because this group is completely and totally secret, Shine has to lead two lives, but she's quickly becoming more absorbed by the second one. All the while, there's a stallion she likes that she's trying to see, but she's too busy to pursue a relationship with him. She begins to learn more secrets about herself and abilities she never realized she had as she progresses in the organization. until eventually another Draconequus is unleashed.
Another Draconequus? Twilight shook her head. Rainbow, do you realize the chances of another Draconequus even being found in this short a space of time are...
Fiction, remember?
Rainbow laughed.
If you can't tell, I'm holding up an imaginary pipe to get the feel of what I'm trying to go for.
You just have a pencil in your mouth.
No. For the purposes of this story, Discord hasn't been here. Neither have any of us. There are element bearers, but they are fictional characters. Anyways, this Draconequus is nothing like Discord. His whole thing is being malicious and evil. He wants to rip the world apart, piece by piece. And he enjoys dishing out pain a lot more than chaos. Thing is, he hasn't woken up with all of his powers. That's scattered in several items he used to wear. They contain some of his reality-bending, logic-transcending abilities. Right from the moment he wakes up, it's a race to find these items before he does. Voldemort?
Is that what happens with Voldemort?
That's basically Voldemort. Yeah.
Aw, man, so she's just writing Harry Potter stuff.
Well, different enough, I guess. Learning more about them as they go, they eventually discover that some of these items can be wielded by ponies, which is good, because they need one at the end of the first book, if only to undo the damage being done to the world.
Twilight rubbed a hoof against the side of her other leg. I don't know, Rainbow. It sounds interesting, but it also sounds like it draws parallels with a lot of other popular adventure novels, like Harry Potter. Are you sure that you're being completely original here?
I mean, hey, no new idea is under the sun, correct?
Rainbow shrugged her withers from where she was hovering.
But, in all honesty, I do think this is pretty original, even if I might have taken influence from some of the things I've read in the past. I've tried to make this idea my own and not copy it from anywhere. Maybe it doesn't translate through perfectly in the synopsis, but that's just because you haven't seen the writing yet.
Twilight looked unconvinced, but still nodded.
Anyway,
Rainbow smiled, softly nudging Twilight.
I want to send this off for publication before the year is out. I know it's not totally finished yet, as there are still bits that could probably use work, and I was hoping you'd be able to go through it at some point soon and give me a hand with that. I think you mean hoof with that, Rainbow Dash.
No, she's more sophisticated right now, so she says hand.
Of course. You could make some notes and show them to me, or hell, even a general opinion would be good. I don't mind if you write on the manuscript either. I've got other copies, so feel free to annotate.
Yeah. Twilight trailed off, nodding. Sounds good.
So, you'll read it?
Rainbow asked, wings buzzing. Yeah, sure, I'll read it later. Rainbow felt an excited twitch shoot through her body.
Rainbow's adorable. As in, later today?
Maybe. Twilight offered. I'll have to see how much of the day I've got left after I finish what I'm reading now. If I get a chance, I'll definitely check it out. If not, I'll definitely read it later on. Rainbow jumped forwards, scooping Twilight into a large hug, wrapping her hooves around her barrel. Okay.
Barrel, Wizzy. Thank you, Twilight Sparkle. You're a great friend. I do owe-est you one.
I owe you one. You just had to really one-up it.
Indubitably.
With that, Rainbow got moving, stopping off at home to grab another copy and setting to write out a short letter.
AK Yearling. Hey, it's me, Rainbow Dash. How you doing? It's been a while. So, guess what? I only went and wrote an entire novel, didn't I? It's an adventure novel too, but I promise it's not just a cheap ripoff of one of yours. I've actually put thought into this. Anyways, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. You're the only
Wait,
pony I
hold
know
on.
that's ever...
Why did that sound like she's claiming that ripping hers off would be not putting thought into it? That sounds like it's a dig at AK Yearling, as if she doesn't put thought into her own novels.
No. She said a cheap ripoff.
Okay. I still like thinking of it as a dig at her. Sorry.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, Rainbow Dash would never fucking say that, but that's fair. Anyways, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. You're the one pony I know that's ever written an adventure novel, let alone got a load of success out of it. I imagine you could tell me what my weak points are and where I could strengthen up. If you don't mind, a few thoughts on what I could do to improve would be really valuable. If you can't do it, however, don't sweat it, just let me know. I won't mind. Let me know when I can see you too. I miss you. Yours, Rainbow.
I love how she just has to sound really cool compared to her normal, sophisticated way of speaking when she's talking to AK Yearling.
Well, yeah, she can't really change her accent all that well, so she thinks about this. So when she writes a letter, she has to think with her mind.
Ooh.
How she's doing it, you know?
Happy with her letter, Rainbow took the letter and the manuscript down to the post office, stuck them in a parcel, and sent them off. Rainbow was excited to receive some honest opinions on her work after holding it so close to her chest for so long. Even after her friends tore it to shreds, she knew it would benefit her in the long run. She was willing to work hard to ensure that she took their thoughts into account and made this the best story it could be. It could possibly be, sorry. Could
That is
possibly
just... This is a fascinating Rainbow Dash.
What, she actually cares what others think now?
Yeah, I can't imagine her taking criticism on her writing all too well, or even attempting to have others proofread it beforehand.
Oh, do you mean in a way that she's, so confident in herself, or she would normally blow up at them if they criticized it?
Both.
Oh.
Well, maybe not the second one. She would definitely get angry, at the very least.
Well, you can't really have it
But she
both
definitely
ways.
wouldn't fucking write a third draft, let alone a second.
Either you're confident
Let alone
or you're
a book.
insecure, and if you're insecure, you kind of get angry, and if you're confident, then you don't, and you just don't care what they think.
Rainbow Dash is an interesting character.
Yeah, that is true.
And the best character on the show. Don't at me.
I'm literally going to add him on Twitter. A week had passed, and progress was slow. Rainbow knew she had to refrain from changing her writing around too much before she got any response, as her edits might invalidate half of her friends' criticisms. But she was beginning to get impatient. She had recently received a letter from Daring, filled with small talk and a general sum-up of how she was, ended with a promise that she would read it later, whatever that meant. Later was such an indeterminate phrase. Did that mean she was going to read it in a day? Or in a month? Did it mean it was the next item on her to-do list? Or that it was right at the bottom? Reasoning that Daring must be pretty busy, Rainbow flew over to Twilight's castle to see how she was doing. This time, Twilight was sat with a completely separate book. The book she had been reading last time sat underneath 10 others on a pile on Twilight's desk, while her manuscript had been pushed off to the other side. Cocking an eyebrow, Rainbow cleared her throat, grabbing Twilight's attention. "Oh, Rainbow!" Twilight had all but jumped in her seat. "How's it going?"
Yes, not bad.
Rainbow shrugged, looking straight at the desk.
How's the reading coming along?
Twilight smiled a guilty smile. "Oh, lots of books, not enough time."
What about all those?
Rainbow pointed to the pile.
You read all of those in a week?
"Oh, yeah. They kind of came naturally after the one I had finished. They're all relevant to one another."
Really?
Rainbow peered closer, seeing titles from the pile sticking out, such as A Guide to Trottingham's Countrysides and Deciphering Ancient Mesopotamian Cuneiform.
I don't really see how those correspond.
Oh, they do. Twilight seemed like she was about to start sweating. All part of a big, project that I've been working on. I'll check out your book when I'm done with that. Rainbow finally lowered her eyebrow.
Well, do you have any clue how long that's going to take? I'm kind of waiting for your feedback.
Yeah. Sure, I'll have it done later.
Later?
Rainbow echoed, a frown beginning to form.
What could this possibly mean? As in, later today, later this week? You're not being specific.
Soon. Twilight answered. I'll read it. Soon.
Okay. Sure. Okay. See you later, Twilight Sparkle.
And with that, Rainbow flew off again. Soon sounded more reasonable than later. After all, surely it wouldn't be long until she got around to it.
So, have you read it?
Rainbow could feel her teeth trying to grit together as she forced herself not to snarl. 3 weeks had passed, and the pile of books on Twilight's desk had filled and emptied multiple times. But still her manuscript sat there, a thin layer of dust over the top. I'm getting to it. Twilight responded. I've just been busy with...
Save it.
Rainbow said, holding out a hoof. Between Twilight's constant reading of everything in her library except what she had asked her to, and Daring's 1,000,001 reasons she was too busy to do that, but not too busy to fly to Zebrica in search of a jeweled chalice she'd heard about, Rainbow was getting pretty tired of excuses.
Look, just...
She felt a sigh leave her chest as she lowered herself in the air until she was level with Twilight.
Just get around to it when you get around to it, okay? I get that you're busy and stuff, and I'm trying not to pressure you. But I worked really hard on this, and I want it to be perfect, to understand?
Sure, Rainbow, I get it. Twilight nodded. I'll move it up on my priority list, okay? Rainbow bit back the question why it would need moving up in the first place after an entire month, choosing to simply thank her and make her way out of the castle once more. She'd already projected hundreds, possibly thousands of changes to the third draft, small and large, but still she waited on the expert opinions of her friends. Oh my god. Twilight, are you serious? Why are you being such a bad friend? You love reading. Come on, Twilight. 8 weeks
But
was...
she's reading about... Nope, can't find it. Never mind. Continue.
I guess she is sort of like reading more studious things rather than a fiction novel. But
Yeah,
come
but like...
on.
Here's the thing. I'll definitely put it off. I would absolutely put off reading it. Dude, I cannot read my friends' works. It's difficult.
Then why do you want me to read a fiction so bad?
Because I think it would be funny for our listeners.
That is
But
true.
Twilight is literally the friendship princess. Come on, woman.
8 weeks was ridiculous. Rainbow was seriously starting to wonder what the heck read it later even meant. Was that just a proverbial plain stories went to in order to die?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Was acknowledging that you were going to read something when you got around to it code for the fact that you were going to read a million other things first and possibly read it if you had completely run out of alternatives? When Rainbow bought a book with the intention of reading it later, she usually got to it within a week. Then again, she imagined some ponies that read a lot more books than her might have trouble sticking to that, especially if they had lives as busy as Rainbow's. It was thoughts like that that made it slightly more difficult to blame Twilight and Daring. But she couldn't wait any longer. Rainbow knew she was an impatient pony by nature. And the idea of sitting around and banging her head for 2 more months was out of the question. Taking a pencil in her mouth, she began to make crude alterations to the text, altering and rephrasing sentences, sometimes taking a separate sheet to redraft an entire scene. There was one chapter in which she decided to completely reword the entire thing, reasoning that 8 pages of solid description upon the entry of a lavish tropical jungle was a little excessive. I agree, that would be so boring.
Da, 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 da.
What is that?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh. She interspersed the scene with dialogue and cut down on the flowery language, then worked through the rest of the story, trying to strengthen the pacing where she could. She had no idea if there were other glaring issues that she was missing, things she should have known about. But there wasn't any time to find out. The way Rainbow saw it, show season would begin early next year, and then if a publisher expected her to make further alterations in a short time frame, she'd be unable to. And she didn't want to wait another year to do this. She was too excited for it. With that in mind, she was pressed on.
She was pressed on?
I don't know where I found was from. With that in mind, she pressed on, coming back to the script in sections over the course of a few days, butchering it again and again until she had something that she honestly felt was strong enough to send away. Her 4th and final draft. Reviewing it, she realized that she had managed to eliminate multiple weaknesses that had been present in her previous writing, and after reading the entire thing cover to cover, she was confident that it would at least grab the attention of the publisher, as well as that of readers when it finally came out. What were you saying?
Oh, there's the was.
Rainbow was proud of herself. Even if she hadn't gotten the help she wanted, she had managed to get it done, and in doing so, she had accomplished the entire thing alone, after writing a short letter to the publisher she planned on using. A prestigious company in Canterlot known for bringing through fresh talent. She enclosed her most recent copy of the manuscript and sent it off. Rainbow was unbelievably excited. She couldn't wait to see what the publisher would think of her work. It was 2 weeks later when Rainbow received a twin pair of knocks on the door. She opened it to find both Daring Do and Twilight standing on the other side, both bearing sheepish smiles and their copies of her 3rd draft. Sighing, she moved aside and let them in, leading them into the kitchen and offering them to sit down at the table.
Amusing that you both showed up together.
Rainbow tutted, flicking on the kettle with her hoof.
Guessing you've come up with the mother of all excuses this time, for it to involve both of you?
Rainbow! Twilight held a hoof up, silencing her. We read it.
Yeah, pull the other one. There's no way you...
Rainbow stopped dead, looking straight at Twilight as she felt her heartbeat speed up.
You did?
A nod from Daring sent Rainbow into pinball mode, zipping around the kitchen and cheering. After about 20 seconds, she attempted to compose herself. But honestly, she didn't really care if she looked silly. She was just happy that they had read her story.
So, what did you think?
Rainbow asked, suddenly aware of how nervous she was for a response. Well, honestly. Twilight looked to Daring, and the pair exchanged a quick smirk.
Yeah? Honestly? Tell me.
Rainbow was on the verge of exploding at this point. She could barely take the suspense. We loved it, Twilight exclaimed, completely catching Rainbow off guard, who had to straighten herself out in midair.
It's true, kiddo.
Daring spoke up, a spark in her eyes.
We had to meet up after just to discuss it. The idea was great. Everything from the execution to how you developed the characters was brilliant. And the descriptions were so easy to visualize. Honestly, I never would have guessed you had a knack for writing.
Hold on. You wouldn't have?
Rainbow peered at Daring, trying to put some substance to that statement.
Honestly, Rainbow, it's why I was putting it off.
Daring admitted, looking away. Oh, that's harsh. That is harsh.
I figured it'd be a low-quality version of what you've read from me, incorporating all of the same ideas and using the word awesome in every other paragraph.
Wait, what? Oh, was she saying that? Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought she was saying it actually had that, and I was confused as to why she liked it.
No. Silly boy.
Although
I would definitely read a fantasy novel like that.
That is true, especially if it was by Rainbow Dash.
Definitely.
Looking back to her, she grinned, flashing brilliant white teeth.
What I got, on the other hoof, was an amazingly creative tale that seems to source from everywhere and nowhere all at once. It feels like you've incorporated some of the elements of my writing into your story, but you've definitely managed to make it your own, and I applaud you for it. In all seriousness, I hated it.
She can't keep it up any longer.
In all seriousness, I'm excited for when you'll write the next one.
Rainbow felt as if she was about to faint. There she was, having her favorite author tell her that she was excited for her to produce another story. It was too much. So much that she completely forgot her rude assumption.
So, it was definitely good, then?
Now it was Twilight's turn to speak. It was more than good. It was so good that Twilight scuffed her hoof against the table.
Starts choking. Daring Do.
She just doesn't want Daring Do to talk again. Now it was Twilight's turn to speak. I regret putting it off to read so many other things first. Rainbow's ears fell slightly.
Why were you intentionally putting it off?
It wasn't intentional, Twilight defended, putting a hoof to her chest.
Oh, sure.
I promise it wasn't. It's just, sometimes I got really preoccupied with a certain train of thought, and before you know it, I'm reading about that thing. There are books in my library that I've been meaning to read for years. Things that I've taken an interest in, or that have been recommended to me, and I completely forget when something else comes along, because there's just so many to choose from. I'm sorry, Rainbow, I didn't mean for it to take so long, but it wasn't on purpose. It took her a second, but Rainbow managed a genuine happy smile.
It's all right, Twilight Sparkle. You still read it, after all, and you didn't have to. I suppose what bothered me was the fact that I was relying on your input to see how I was coming along and what I needed to change. And apart from that, it's sometimes just nice to know that someone's reading something you put your time into creating. And you telling me that you would get round to it really wasn't filling me with confidence. But it's fine, I get it, of course.
All right, in 1, 2, 3... What you need to change? The pair said in unison.
Well, yeah.
Rainbow nodded, as if it was obvious.
That wasn't my final draft.
It wasn't.
Daring echoed, clearly shocked.
Well, hardly anything actually needed changing. The pacing was perfect. The descriptions were beautiful. How much did you change?
Rainbow felt a shiver course through her spine.
Wait, you're kidding me, right?
Daring's right, Rainbow. Twilight weighed in. It was basically perfect as is. Just how much did you alter?
Probably about 20% of the writing.
Rainbow squeaked out, looking between the pair.
Is that bad?
It depends.
Daring's eyebrows straightened as she focused on Rainbow.
What did you change?
Well, I mainly looked at speeding up the pacing and reducing the description-heavy scenes.
The pacing was perfect!
The descriptions were brilliant.
Oh, gosh.
Rainbow pressed her muzzle into her countertop, lightly knocking her head against it.
I've really messed things up, haven't I?
How have you? Twilight laughed. Just send the third draft off instead, and...
I've already sent the most recent edition to the publisher.
Rainbow stated, her jaw tight. Daring's eyes widened. Twilight's jaw dropped.
It might be all right.
Daring said, though her expression was uncertain.
How long ago did you send it?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, geez.
Daring gulped.
Gulp. And what did they say to you?
Rainbow remembered the exact words, if only for the irony in them.
They said they'd read it later.
Ha! You're fine then.
Daring laughed, shaking her head.
Nothing to worry about.
Rainbow cocked her head. She had absolutely no clue how that could be.
Why's that then? You literally just told me that I changed all the best bits, and now you're saying I don't need to worry?
It's pretty simple, really.
When Daring looked at her, her eyes shone with pure mirth.
If they said that, they're never reading it.
How's that nothing to worry about?
The difficulties of being a writer. Anyways.
Oh, because then they... now I get it. Because then they won't read the draft that she made worse. I get it.
Precisely.
So, that was Read It Later by All Art is Quite Useless.
Oh, that was nice.
Something I want to point out is that at least quite a bit of the comments on here are pretty funny. As long as you sort from oldest first. I don't know about newest first. So there's this guy who named himself Read It Later. Everyone in the comments was joking about how they're putting it on the Read Later list. So there's this guy who decided to make a new account and call himself Read It Later. His library is full of stories, or is full of shelves, I guess that's what we're going to call it, called Read It Later. And it's all just this story.
Oh my god.
So if you want a quick chuckle, go down into those comments and look at that. I'm going to post that to Wizzy. But anyways, aside from that though, the story.
That's nice.
Yeah, you got to it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So this story was awesome.
I really, really love this story.
If I had one complaint, it would probably be the inconsistent punctuation, but I'm guessing that's just like, a little bit of rough edges.
Yeah. Maybe there should have been a fourth draft. But yeah, I really loved this. As a Rainbow Dash fan, it at least puts Rainbow Dash in a pretty good light.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that's not fucking Rainbow Dash. I'm just going to say it right now. Rainbow Dash would never, ever, ever actually finish writing a novel. And if she did, it would 100% be filled with awesome and really fast pacing. But we don't know because Rainbow Dash has never written a novel.
One thing I do like about this, though, I don't know if it would be true, but it seems like this would be something that the writer would make from experience.
Probably.
Just telling friends.
I mean, let me just tell you right now. In my library, on my Read It Later, I have 115 stories. I'm never getting to any of them, except for Read It Later, which I just put in. So I have 114 stories that I will never fucking read.
Alright, I'm hitting the Read It Later button.
Good.
Just for the meme. Yeah, but I was more talking about the point of the author, like having asking friends to read their story, and them never actually doing it.
Oh, indeed. As much as this was a critique on the Read It Later button on FimFiction, let's face it, you definitely have some friends that would go, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to read that soon.
Yeah.
And heck, I've been this friend to an ex-friend who sucks, but whatever.
Good thing you never read their garbage.
Yeah, that would have just been a freaking waste of time, but yeah. Basically about this story is just, it's good. It's a great story.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Possibly high up there in the rankings for me, but we'll see over time. But yeah, not much else to say because it's just a story called Read It Later, honestly.
Yeah. I believe that would wrap everything up then.
Indeed it does. Thank you all for listening to our podcast, Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. If you want to support the show, you can't, except for watching it or listening to it.
Just go on.
If you want a Patreon, I guess you could say, let's get a Patreon, baby, but I don't know what we would put in there. Yeah. You know what? Tweet to me and tell me what you want in a Patreon.
We can put in our original stories with our own audiobooks.
Oh, that would be cool.
We could have people request that we do a reading of their story in our Patreon. That would work.
Oh yeah, that would be a great idea.
But
We would have to very much... I'm not going to pull any punches if we do, though.
yeah,
So, I'm sorry, guys, but...
just because you're
Anyways.
paying me doesn't mean I'm going to be nice. But at the moment, what you can do is follow us, subscribe, like the friggin' thing.
Yeah. Share us. Please, God, share us. Throw us over on r/podcasts or whatever. Just do it, guys. Please.
But other than that, I have one thing to say.
What's that?
Bye.
Oh, I guess I don't get to say bye. Okay, fine then.
Just say it.
Whatever. See if I care. I don't care. Bye.
See you soon, Twilight Sparkle.
You really put the
See you later, Twilight Sparkle.
Do you intentionally
That
put
was
the
an
soon?
actual mistake.
I thought you were just being clever.
I just realized that I have read Caffeinated Pinky stories as well. Huh.
Wait.
Well, earlier I said that I don't like to read things from my friends.
Okay, so that makes one of
Remember
two
that?
things true.
Huh. Weird.
Either you didn't
anyways.
like reading Caffeinated Pinky stuff, or you do like reading stuff from friends.
Or exceptions can be made.
You
Bitch.
just don't want to admit that you liked my story, okay?
I haven't read a fucking thing from you.
Yes, you have, and it's on Wattpad, and this is getting cut out.
Good.